There are 16 of them. You could put them all in a football field and still have 5 to spare. Special counsel Robert Mueller has hired 16 lawyers to help him slog through the Trump-Russia investigation. He hired lawyer number 16 just this week, a guy named Greg Andres. Mr. Andres used to be the Deputy Assistant Attorney General at the Justice Department's Criminal Division. He specialized in fraud and foreign bribery. And now he's putting that expertise back to use, flexing his fraud and foreign bribery muscles for the special counsel working on the Trump-Russia investigation. The lineup of attorneys working for Mueller is like a fantasy league of super draft of all-star attorneys. He has experts in white-collar crime, organized crime, money laundering, cybersecurity. He's got a skilled witness flipper, a fluent Russian speaker. He even has a freaking Watergate prosecutor working on this thing. It's like the dream team of criminal investigations. Now, we've long known that the President of the United States is not happy about this investigation into his campaign and his administration. He told the New York Times that if Robert Mueller started looking into his personal finances, that would be a red line. He called it a violation of what the special counsel is allowed to poke his nose into. We also know that Robert Mueller has crashed right on through that red line. His probe has reportedly expanded to start following the complicated trail of Trump's business transactions and finances. And then there's today's bombshell news from the Wall Street Journal that the Trump-Russia investigation now reportedly has its very own grand jury, a sign that this investigation is not slowing down anytime soon. So if the president wanted to fire Robert Mueller, if he wanted to throw some cold water on the witness flipper and the Watergate prosecutor and the grand jury and all the rest of it, he does actually have a few options to push Mueller out of the way, which is why there's a bipartisan push in Congress right now to take those options off the table. There's a quartet of senators from both sides of the aisle cooking up 2 different bills right now that would block Trump from firing the special counsel. 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans working to shore up Robert Mueller.
If he takes an abrupt action now and either fires the Attorney General or directs the firing of Bob Mueller, there will be a strong bipartisan reaction from the Senate. And I think the consequences for him will be even more grave if he does that.
All right, Senator Chris Coons, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, today we got to see something that the White House did not mean to make public. That story's next.
Okay. We're here today to announce the introduction of a companion bill to the bipartisan Senate legislation, the Special Counsel Independence and Integrity Act, introduced by Senators Tillis, Coons, Booker, and Graham. This important legislation builds in protections for the Special Counsel investigation and allows for judicial review to separate political interference from the carrying out of justice. Unfortunately, it seems Republican leadership in the House lacks the spine to take a stand against President Trump's abuse of power or to defend our country from the constitutional crisis that we would face if Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation were terminated or interfered with in any way. Earlier this week, after the FBI executed a search warrant on the offices of Michael Cohen, the President once again engaged in a disgraceful attack on the Department of Justice and the Special Counsel's investigation, labeling it a, quote, witch hunt, and saying, quote, it's an attack on our country in a true sense, unquote. The President apparently thinks he is the state and that an attack on him is an attack on the country. Nothing, however, could be further from the truth. The President, like everyone else, is subject to the law, and he should know that he will be held accountable to the law. Statements like these, reports that the President has considered numerous times over the past year firing Mr. Mueller, and threats from congressional Republicans to, quote-unquote, impeach DOJ officials, Department of Justice officials, who refuse to cooperate in their conspiracy theories are clear threats to the rule of law. They specifically, although maybe indirectly, target Special Counsel Mueller, who is charged with investigating allegations of serious crimes against the United States and the American people. I am proud to stand here this morning with Representatives Sheila Jackson Lee and Steve Cohen, both of whom had earlier introduced legislation to protect the Special Counsel and other Democratic colleagues from the Judiciary Committee, to say the following. We expect that the Special Counsel will be permitted to complete his investigation, wherever it may lead, free from political interference, and that the facts will be presented for public review so that the American people can know the full truth. We hope Chairman Goodlatte and the House leadership will finally put country above party, fulfill their constitutional duty, and defend the rule of law, and will not sit quietly and abide in assault on our justice system. That is why we wrote to Chairman Goodlatte this week to formally request that he mark up legislation on this matter, and we hope that he will accede, or absent that other Republicans on the committee will join with us in making a formal demand for markup pursuant to House rules. Finally, I want to again state the obvious. Any move against Special Counsel Mueller, against Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who oversees the Special Counsel's office, or against Attorney General Sessions, who is recused from such matters, would be completely unacceptable. If the President were to move in any way to undermine or interfere with the Special Counsel's ongoing investigation, it would appear to be the actions of someone who knows he is guilty of crimes and cannot withstand an honest investigation, at which point all options would have to be on the table. I'll now ask one of the original sponsors of the underlying legislation, Sheila Jackson-Lee.
Thank you so very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Nadler, and I'm delighted to stand with you this morning and applaud your leadership and the continuous way that you have sought to impress upon America that the members of the Judiciary Committee, my colleagues who are standing here, will take no back seat to upholding the Constitution and providing the oversight that is necessary to protect the American people. Chairman Nadler, Ranking Member Nadler, has, through his tenure, consistently sought from the chairman of the committee an opportunity for hearings. Many of my colleagues have submitted motions of inquiry in order to answer the questions regarding the Russian intrusion into the elections of 2016. So I'm very pleased to stand here today as Mr. Nadler, as we join him in introducing the legislation that is now moving forward in the United States Senate. And I say that with a sense of optimism that the Coons, Tillis, the Graham, Cory Booker merger of the two bills will move forward on behalf of the American people, which reflects my bill, H.R. 3654, which I introduced in August, and over the months have secured more than and close to 150 co-sponsors as my colleague's bill as well. We know that there is a pending constitutional crisis because all of those who advocate for the president have offered him the authority that he thinks and knows that he has to fire Special Counsel Mueller. For example, in the last 72 hours, his communications director spoke at the White House and said, yes, the president has the authority to fire Director Mueller. At the same time, banned Steve Bannon indicated, I have a plan. His plan is to fire Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein to